Okay, so since I did a video about Last of Us 1 ending, I'm also going to talk about Last of Us 2's ending. Now, Last of Us 2's ending, I thought it was very dark. And honestly, I thought it was very realistic. It was probably one of the most surprising endings, honestly. But I just want to say this about Last of Us 2. It's a good game. I wouldn't say it's better than Last of Us 1. And there are some things, honestly, that they could have done better. But all in all, the themes of Last of Us 2, and a lot of it dealing with PTSD, a lot of it dealing with mental health and stuff, I actually really like that aspect of this game. Now, let's get into the ending, right? So the ending, Tommy was in Dina and Ellie's house, right? And then Tommy pulled up the map of where Abby is, and Abby is in Santa Barbara, right? So this is just one pivotal moment to where Dina, was talking to Ellie about this. Maybe think about it. Don't rush into things, But Ellie, Ellie is very revenge driven. Actually, revenge is actually one of the themes of Last of Us 2. Ellie just wants to have revenge on Abby because Abby, killed Joel. Abby just went to Joel, got the golf club, tried to do a hole-in-one, and, Joel died. And you see that scene, that scene in Last of Us 2 where Joel dies and Ellie was like screaming, no, I'll fucking kill you. It's like so surreal because that's Ellie's father figure. And you saw in Last of Us 1 how much Joel sacrificed just to keep Ellie safe. And then Ellie is just defenseless, screaming, trying to anything for them to stop killing Joel, but it didn't work. Joel died. Ellie was in so much pain. Now she has revenge. So, yeah, it's a little bit of... I'm just talking about that scene in the beginning of Last of Us 2 because I feel like that's why Ellie went to Santa Barbara to try and finish things with Abby. So, yeah, so Ellie basically is like not really following what Dina says, so there is going to be repercussions for that. Ellie goes to Santa Barbara, sees it's crazy out there. Like, there's people in prisons and they're malnourished and shit. Ellie almost died, but she threw that one soldier with a zombie. She used her own immunity to her strength, which was pretty smart. So fast forward, she finds Abby, hanging, like kind of on a cross, like a cross figure, like Jesus, right? And then you see Abby's malnourished, weak, she's skinny, and she's basically like a shell of herself, right? She's basically like a shell of herself. Like Abby in the game, in the beginning of the game, in the middle, she's like strong, she's built, she's athletic, like she's like bodybuilder. But in here, you see her as a shell of herself. Like, she's so weak. She looked like she lost. And probably due to good reason because, Ellie killed all her friends. And then she probably thinks she lost mentally. And not only mentally, but physically in that. And so Ellie cuts down the string that's holding her in that Jesus Christ little statue thing. Then, she escorts her along with the kid. And then Abby basically thought Ellie was going to let her walk free and then let her go to the boat. So then they got the kid on the boat. Abby thinks Ellie's just going to let her go on the boat. Oh, nah, it's on sight. So Ellie basically punches Abby. They get into this crazy fight. This fight is very violent. Like, I'm not gonna lie, one of the key aspects and themes of Last of Us is violence. This is a very violent fight. Like, they're just punching each other. Like, they're trying to use the knife against each other. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of stabbing, scratching. There was so much things going on in this fight with Abby and Ellie in the water. And then they're all just trying to, like, free for himself. Like, it is just, like, a sense of desperation with this fight. It feels like both of them are just so worn out. They're all traumatized by everything. Abby went through a lot, Ellie went through a lot. They both probably have PTSD. So it just feels like two broken people that are fighting. And then you expect it to be epic, but it's just so crazy. They're just trying to survive. And maybe they would just forget about each other for one time and just let us go. But no, it gets even more violent and violent. Like, wow, this is just one of the craziest things that Naughty Dog has written. So, in conclusion, with this fight, Ellie got the upper hand on Abby, and Ellie is drowning Abby. Abby is drowning, like she's gasping for air. Abby also bit off two of Ellie's fingers, her ring finger and then her pinky finger, and she's still drowning her. I'm pretty sure Abby thought she was gonna die at this moment, and I thought she was gonna die for real. I thought she was gonna die, but then while Ellie was drowning Abby, she thought of Joel. And maybe she thought that if she killed Abby, it's not gonna bring back Joel. It's not gonna bring back her loved one. Her loved one will still be dead, even if Abby died. So probably at that moment where she had PTSD, she let go of Abby. She didn't want her to drown. And then Abby just didn't fight back. She just walked away from Ellie. She went to the boat with the kid, and then she just sailed away. And honestly, I actually liked that ending. It was super realistic. I think at the end, Ellie now knows that revenge isn't worth it. Like, you go through the revenge. She wanted to get revenge on Joel. She wanted to get revenge on Abby for killing Joel. But then she gets through all of these sequences, right? And then it's never gonna bring back Joel, even if she killed Abby. That's freaking nuts. So we skipped after that to the scene where Ellie goes back to the farmhouse that she was with Dina, right? And it's all empty. It used to be a house filled with life, filled with great memories. You know, the baby was there, Dina was there, everybody was loving life. But when Ellie went back to that house, it was all lifeless. And then there was only one room in there with memories and stuff, and that room had Joel's guitar in there. Ellie tried to play the song that Joel taught her with Joel's guitar, but she couldn't even play it no more because Abby bit off two of her fingers, so she couldn't even play it properly. And in the end, man, it was very sad. That ending was very sad. She puts down the guitar, she walks outside, and then it just fades to black. You don't know what happened to Ellie after. And honestly, this was a dark ending. I was surprised Naughty Dog went with this. So before we talk about what things I would have fixed about Last of Us 2, let's talk about just this ending in general, the things I liked about it. So basically, this ending is basically a throwback to when Ellie said that she doesn't want to be alone. She doesn't want to end up alone. But through her rage of killing Abby's friends, and then, I guess it's honestly, she should have released Abby because revenge can only go so far. But in that, she ended up all alone. One of her worst fears came true. Now she's just alone, wandering through where she's going to. And that was what she didn't want to do. If you look at Last of Us 1, she always wanted to be with Joel because Joel was the only one that cared. She said this one quote in Last of Us 1 where that everybody that she ever cared for either left or died, so Joel was the only one. But now she has no one. She could have honestly had a future with Dina because Ellie and Dina were happy on the farm. They were a happy family. Ellie and Dina were just raising this baby boy. They were on the farm with farm animals. It felt so lovely. You could honestly feel love and vibrancy in that Tommy was just sitting at the table. It felt like a little family reunion, and it is that glimpse of hope that Ellie could have gotten, that Ellie could have had a future with the kid, with Dina, and just live happily ever after. But she threw it all away. She threw it all away just so she could kill Abby. And Dina warned her about it. Dina warned her. So in the end, Ellie was the one to be alone. And that fucking sucks. Because Ellie is one of my favorite characters in Last of Us. Honestly, I can relate to Ellie a lot. We've all been through a lot of trauma. We've all been through a lot of stuff. But maybe it's more wiser to choose the choice that will make you more happier in the end. And not the choice that will bring you alone. Honestly, this ending was so dark. It was something that only Naughty Dog could have come up with. It is basically a negative consequence for going in rage, anger. Abby's friends, every single one of them, felt Ellie's wrath. And wrath is like one of a sin, right? And that's something that basically Ellie had to take on, is those sins. So in the end, it's all alone. It's all alone. Honestly, such a dark ending. I personally like Last of Us 1's ending more, but this ending, wow, it was so true to realism, to how trauma affects you, how trauma can mess up your fucking life, and that shit is so real. It didn't have a negative consequence. But yeah, that's what I thought of the ending. It was just a negative consequence of many things Ellie has done. Naughty Dog pretty much did a good job on that. Now let's talk about what I would have added on to Last of Us 2 to make it better. Honestly, they should have added more scenes where Ellie had PTSD, like having visions of Joel throughout the game. They were gonna put more of that, but they kind of scrapped it. Honestly, they should have kept that because it would have made the story more coherent, and I would have loved to see that. A second thing is I wish that they added more flashback sequences with Joel. I'm pretty sure Joel and Ellie had some very kind and wholesome moments, and I would have loved to see a little bit more of that, like flashbacks and memories, just so, you know, it can soften Joel's death a bit. Because I understand why people was mad at Joel's death. I was too, bro. They could have just added more flashback sequences to see how great Joel was, and that would have made the game a little bit better. And then another thing I would have done for Last of Us 2 is basically make this the last of Us. Give us the ending option, whether to kill Abby or to let her go. Honestly, that would have been an amazing decision. Let the player choose. Let the player choose which one would they go, the path of revenge or the path of forgiveness. And honestly, that would have made the game a lot more better and much more well received, because I know there was a lot of controversy with this game when this shit came out. But that's just my 2 cents. Last of Us 2's ending, in conclusion, super dark, very much realistic to trauma and how people perceive PTSD. It's crazy. It's actually a very realistic game, and I honestly recommend it. I can't wait for The Last of Us Season 2 TV show, which covers this game. It's gonna be lit. But anyways, that's it for the video. You guys have a good one. Stay safe, and I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.